Welcome to The Explainer. So, what happens when the people win? I mean, really win, at the ballot box against a billion-dollar project backed by City Hall? Well, in Greeley, Colorado, the city government didn't just give up. Nope, they pivoted. And that pivot, well, that's the story we're diving into today. It's a real masterclass in political strategy.
You know that feeling when you're just not being heard? That's exactly where this all began. We're talking about a massive billion-dollar development project, sometimes called Catalyst, sometimes Cascadia, and the folks in Greeley, well, they felt like the city was just ramming it through, completely ignoring their questions about the financial risks. It felt like they were being bullied, and it all boiled down to a simple question: who gets to decide what our city becomes? So what do? You fight back. A group called Greeley Demands Better popped up, and they started getting people organized. Their message was simple and powerful: public risk, private reward. And get this, they were pointing out that the city was basically putting taxpayers on the hook for over $1 billion, even using City Hall as collateral. All while the private developer, they had zero skin in the game, no equity risk at all. And believe it or not, they actually won. I mean, this was a total David and Goliath situation. For a special election, turnout was massive. Over 20,000 people showed up to vote, and they sent a crystal clear message, repealing the project's zoning and stopping it dead in its tracks. A huge, decisive win for the little guy. So, a clear victory for the people, right? Case closed. But this is where the story gets really interesting, because that victory wasn't the end. It was a pivot point. What does a city government do when its signature project, the one it's been championing for ages, gets shot down by the voters? Well, let's get into it. Okay, so check out this timeline. The vote happens on February 24th. Less than a month later, boom, the city announces its next play, the West Greeley Citizen Oversight Committee. Think about that speed for a second. This wasn't some long, soul-searching process. This was fast. It was calculated. It was a strategic pivot, plain and simple. Now, on the surface, this looks great, right? Mayor Del Hall came out and said, hey, we heard you. We want you to be part of the conversation. It was framed as this big act of listening. But when you start to look at it through a political lens, analysts see something else entirely. They see a really sophisticated tool designed to do a few things: manage the crisis, take back control of the story, and yeah, probably get the project back on track. So let's ask the big question here. What are the real advantages for Mayor Hall and the city council in creating this committee? I mean, it's a 9-person committee that's going to meet for 6 months, and no big decisions can be made until they give the report. So what's the game here? What does that 6-month pause really do for them? Well, according to some sharp political analysis, this isn't just the city winging it. This is straight out of a political playbook. It's a 3-part strategy designed to take back control after a major loss. Think of it as delay, reframe, and absorb. Let's break down exactly how that works. First up, tactical delay. Think about it. After a superheated, emotional campaign, a 6-month break is like a giant timeout. It's a political pressure relief valve. All that energy and anger from the election, it starts to fade. It pushes any real decisions way down the road and lets the emotional heat just dissipate. Step 2, control the narrative. This is so key. The committee doesn't operate in a vacuum. Who give them all their information? City staff. So the city gets to control the entire flow of data. They can reframe the debate from this public battle over risk to a dry technical review of charts and figures. And just like that, the burden of proof isn't on the politicians anymore, it's on the citizens and the committee. And the third move, which is just brilliant, is to absorb the dissent. It's a political tactic called co-optation. And here's how it works. You make the committee a huge time commitment. We're talking weekly meetings, hours at a time. This filters out the loudest voices for people who are more, well, manageable. You're turning protesters into participants. You're taking the fight off of Reddit and Facebook and putting it into stuffy meeting rooms with formal rules. You're basically domesticating the protest. So you might be thinking, is this just a one-off thing they came up with? Or is this part of a bigger, repeatable playbook? Well, to answer that, all you have to do is look back at another big, controversial project in the city's recent history. The comparison is pretty fascinating. And when you put them side by side, a pattern just jumps right out at you. A few years ago, with a controversial water project, the public was worried about safety. So what did the city do? They brought in experts to say everything was fine. Now, with Cascadia, the concern is financial risk. But they're not just rolling out experts. They've evolved. They're using residents, the citizen committee, to bless the process. And in today's world where everyone's a little skeptical of experts, that's a much smarter, more effective political shield. Okay, but hang on, because that 6-month pause, it's not really a pause at all. This is where the real behind-the-scenes action is happening. While everyone's watching the committee, the city is quietly making some very big, very strategic moves in the background. So get this. While the committee is meeting, the city council moves ahead on a $17 million water line for the area. That's what you call a fact on the ground. It makes the land ready for that big development. No matter what the committee says, it's irreversible. And at the same time, they're working to appoint a new member to the council in a vacant seat, likely someone who supports their pro-growth vision. So they're building the physical and the political infrastructure for the project, all while the public is looking the other way. So you see the genius of it? That 6-month window is the perfect cover. It de-escalates the public anger, it lets them rebrand the whole narrative, and it gives them time to strategically advance their real, long-term goals. By doing nothing on the surface, they're actually doing everything underneath to make sure that next time this comes up for a vote, the deck is stacked in their favor. Which brings us to the big, central question here. When a government takes a protest, a real, powerful, grassroots movement, and absorbs it into a formal process, who really wins? You have the raw power of the people, which can win a single election. And then you have the slow, steady, procedural power of an institution that knows how to play the long game. It really makes you wonder what happens on the day after the people have spoken.